Hi, good evening. Good evening and welcome to Talking Songs with me, Rowland Jones, and the guitar. So here we are in lockdown, yet again. So it's got to be done. There's no other way out of it, I don't think. And it's I mean, it's getting difficult. I mean, I think I may have mentioned this before, but it's just weird because now I don't know when Christmas is going to end, because it's not like you're going back to work or anything, is it? Says he, having been retired for several years. But you know what I mean? There's no fixtures that you have to go to. And for people who wouldn't normally have been going back to work, this is, what should I do? And there's nothing to, I talking to Shane earlier on, I said, so what have you been doing today? And between the two of us, we came up with going for a run and going for a walk, and that was it. So they're not exciting times, are they, really? But there you go. There's not much we can do about it. We just have to carry on. So before I bring Shane into the studio, I'm just going to sing a little tune. A nice bleak and depressing blues. It's funny. I mean, people have said to me in the past, "You're just too cheerful to sing the blues, Roland." Oh well, it's the Pagliacci syndrome. This is called "It Never Rains on My Party." Never rains on my party. The blues is never knocking at my door. Everything goes right for me, except you don't love me anymore. If I won the lottery, had more money than I could spend, it would not change a single thing, 'cause happiness is priceless in the end. I would buy you a Ferrari, and if I could, a private plane. I'd offer you a house in Mauritius, but nothing would ever be the same. If I could buy the finest clothes, the latest fashion, full of style, I'd probably manage to look okay, but I still could not make you smile. Something's gone away, but something is lost. Where is everything that we had? Just tell me what happened, and why is the ending so sad? Now it always rains on my party. Blues is forever at my door. Everything goes wrong for me, 'cause you don't love me anymore. Oops. Oh God. clunking my guitars around. Yes, cheerful little number. So let me introduce you to Shane Robertson.
Well done, Rowland.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. It's a cheery little number, isn't it?
You are too cheerful to sing the blues. Like night and day.
No, there's a good title for a song. I wonder if it's been done. Afraid so. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, as well as you can do. Taking it day by day.
I was listening to something on Radio 4 the other day, and he was a stand-up comic, and he'd written this entire show about small talk, about how he hated small talk.
Yeah,
and of course, it's exacerbated now that, as we were saying earlier on today, there's nothing else to talk about. And he was talking about those. How did he? I can't think what he called them. Those phrases that we all use, like, well, it is what it is.
That's
got to be
like
done.
The phrase of 2020, isn't it? That is what it is. Got to be done.
Got to be done. What was the
at the end of the day?
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day. So at the end of the day, as it is one of those things, what are you up to?
Yeah.
Tell me about your songwriting. When did you first start playing an instrument?
Well, when push comes to shove, Rowland, I started off on the guitar. That's my that's my main squeeze.
I fell for that, and I fell for it.
I didn't even think it was in context. I just wanted to slip it in there.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
okay, the guitar.
Yeah. So, the guitar is my main instrument. So I've played it since I was about 7 years old.
Oh, right. Okay.
So quite a long time.
Yeah.
But I didn't start writing songs until I left New Zealand.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't really have enough pain in my life, I think. Enough confusion in my life.
Yeah, well, I'll go along with that. I didn't. You say about me being too happy. I only consider myself having started writing songs in 2007, and which was considerably later in my life than it is for you.
Yeah,
so, I can understand that, because yes, I think that's absolutely valid, though. I mean, the other issue I had was that everything I played or wrote sounded like something I'd already heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you had like quite a high filter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you were at university. You studied music at university, yeah?
Yeah, I studied music at university, and then I left in 2009.
Right.
And then I lived in France for a while, and I sort of leapfrogged my way to the UK. And I use writing and music to make sense of my uprootedness and change, just adapting to new environments. So just a kind of a DIY self-therapy, I guess.
It's quite interesting, because I've talked to Palafuski about this, because I did a similar thing, because in 2007 we went to live in Italy. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was definitely, without being too cliched, it definitely was a renaissance and a rebirth, because over there I was suddenly somebody quite different.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's even more. I mean, it must have been a bit like that for you in France. I mean, do you speak French, or did you when you got there, or?
I spoke a little bit, but when it wasn't really. You don't have a real idea of speaking it until you're actually immersed in the environment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just book phrases and stuff up until that point, and when you actually realize that the words that you're using have an impact on another person, then you get this kind of bypassed effect, I think.
It's a very different experience, because before I went to live there, because I lived there once on my own and then once again with Leslie, I tried evening classes, 3 or 4 different types of classes, and didn't help me at all.
No.
And I just did like a full immersion thing when I got there. So
did you learn a little bit of Italian before you went there?
I had a little bit, and I had a very, very basic phrase. What I did when I got there was I spoke what I refer to as Jewish Italian. You know, have you got? I've got Jewish friends, right? And when they talk about things, they often just talk in the present tense. So they'll say,
okay.
Last Wednesday, I'm in town shopping. I'm walking down the street. So they describe the scenario, set the context, and then speak in the present tense, which is what I did for quite a long time.
That's how they do it in police interviews, isn't it? Like they're trying to recall the witness is trying to recall the murder, and then like, now I'm walking down the stairs,
traveling in a northerly direction. And,
yeah.
So writing. So you started. Were you writing songs in French or in English?
In English mainly. I started doing a little bit of French, but some words started creeping in. But the French, the songs that are in French are very. I would not claim to have enough of a handle on that language to write a song in French.
Well, you're a brave. I lived in Italy for a total of 10 years, and my Italian's pretty good, but I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't risk singing a song in Italian, let alone on the basis. At least in English, you know how to move words about and adjust things like that, but you don't know how to do that.
You even know how to break the rules in English.
Absolutely, yeah.
But if you break the rule in another language, they might go, no. You can't do that.
I think we did that. There's a good friend of mine out in Italy who plays bass with a band called The Lamb, which is the official Italian Genesis tribute band.
Nice.
And they're amazing. And they do the whole thing. But the singer clearly doesn't have a single word of what Peter Gabriel was talking about. But so he does all the things. And he's got like, the big flower head dress on. And he does all the theatrical bit. And he's crawling around the stage on his hands and knees. And you can see he's just learned it by a series of sounds. It's just learned by rote. And he's got no idea what he's singing about.
Yeah.
I think many people would say that about Genesis lyrics. But anyway, so
I had an expression for that, and when I was there, called a yogurt, which is like yogurting. Now you do a yogurt, and it's when you make the sounds of an English singer, but you just gibberish is coming out.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Yogurt.
There you go.
It's good. So, in terms of songwriting, I mean, obviously we've our experiences together have been pretty blues based, really. Was that where your whole thing about songwriting came from?
I was writing songs before I was into blues, but then I probably discovered it about the same time, actually. Because I got into the blues after university. And it took me a while to get it. I don't know, to get it, because the songs are quite simple, but then like I find with certain genres, if some things are simple, then there has to be a complexity crept into other elements of the music. So with blues, like there's no faking the blues. You gotta have the blues attitude and the blues.
Yeah.
Feel.
Well, I think it was Hendrix who said the blues is easy to play but hard to feel.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great quote.
It's a good quote, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he wasn't much of a talker, really. He didn't really sort of. He once said that he hated compliments because he never knew what to say.
Oh,
so sweet.
He was a real introvert, wasn't he?
Yeah. Except when he was setting fire to his guitar on stage.
Yeah.
Whilst faking sex with it. Yeah. But an introvert, really. So what about songwriters then? Who do you like in terms of songwriters? I mean, purely blues writers, or do you like other stuff?
Just a real eclectic mix, really. I quite like. I love the Beatles. I probably got into the Beatles around the same time as the blues. It sounds strange, but I'd heard the hits, if you like, but never actually went back to the albums. So yeah, around the same time, someone had shown me the White Album, and I was like, oh my god. this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is amazing, you know. And then I listened to Abbey Road after that, and yeah, it was just when I got the click from that, something clicked. Same with the blues, and you realize, yeah, there was a lot behind those songs.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to play a song now, but before I do, I just mentioned something in relation to the Beatles. We're talking about getting into things. I listened to a documentary last week on BBC Radio 4 about Neil Innes.
Okay,
and it was only one of a series. I think it was the last one, so I'm going to go back on the Sounds app and have a listen to the others. And it was talking about him in relation to songwriting and what he did with the Rutles.
Oh, right. Okay. Was that with Eric Idle?
Yeah. And he talks about that and how they did it. And if they had people who actually worked on the Beatles albums and you know, all sorts of stuff. So well worth a listen. Check it out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll do. Send me a link for it and I'll have a listen.
I will do. Yeah. So sing us a song then. Tell us a little
bit.
All right.
Okay. We're coming through okay?
You are indeed.
Right. So the song is called Break.
Okay.
Face into the wind seems so trying. Troubles that have tainted all your time. Blows against your skin, stings your eyes. I won't give in until you're feeling right. Sail straight ahead, still waiting on what you said. Break, heed how you found. Just wanted to build you up when all you do is break. Heed how you found. Just wanted to build you up when all you do is break. Floating upside down freaks you out. Dying for the kiss of life upon your crooked mouth. Sail straight ahead, still waiting on what you said. Break, heed how you found. Just wanna build you up when all you do is break. Heed how you found. Just wanted to build you up when all you do is break. In pieces, fate in your arms. Place your reasons, claim your right to be found. Break, heed how you found. Just wanted to build you up when all you do is break. Heed I found. Just wanted to build you up when all you do is break.
Nice.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent. You're you were quite a fan of the sort of the drone. I noticed a couple of times when you play, you like those open strings. I'm a big fan of open voiced chords.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Where does that come from with you, as a matter of interest? Can you?
I think it's a blues. I think the drone thing is a blues thing that I picked up. You know, like those, like John Lee Hooker or something doing. You know, those chords, like those ones. You know, you just got the root and the fifth essentially. Yeah, it's just a powerful sound.
Yeah, yeah.
And it also, like, if you're, I play in a trio a lot, and have done in the past, and just have a big chordal sound. If you got chords with open strings in it, it always just fills out the sound more, I find.
Absolutely, yeah. It sustains the sound.
Exactly, yeah.
It's almost like, I suppose it's partially the reason why people started using 12-string double course guitars.
Oh, yeah.
But I always find them very clumsy to play. I don't know about you, but I find them quite.
I've not had much experience with them, but I do love the sound. I just found out all along the Watchtower is on the 12-string, the acoustic bit at the beginning.
Oh, right. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I said one of the things that that had a big influence on me, which was, I was fortunate. I went to the Big Isle White Festival when Dylan played.
Oh my gosh!
And
one of
the I missed the following year when Hendrix was on, unfortunately. But one of the acts on was Richie Havens. Now I don't know if you know anything. Now Richie Havens is this. He's a huge guy, and he plays like a Guild Dreadnought, right, which is a big-bodied guitar, and it looks like a ukulele on him. He's enormous.
Yeah.
And he plays in an open E minor tuning, and most of his fretting he does with his left thumb.
Oh my gosh!
So he's barring like this. Right,
how many strings does it go, like Jimi Hendrix style, like all the way down almost?
Right away across.
Oh wow!
Because it's in open tuning, it looks like he's actually doing the full bar, but with his thumb. It's a very bizarre way of playing. And it was him on stage, and it was just him. Another acoustic guitar player who did solo-y stuff, and a percussionist. But Richie Havens has got this amazing right hand action as well. So the drive of it with this sort of open jangly sound is just phenomenal.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Worth checking out. So the other thing, I mean, the voicings that you're using are quite jazzy as well. Did you study jazz when you were doing guitar at university?
I did, yeah. I love those, anything with sevenths or ninths or 13ths. Yeah, flat and fifths. I really liked your augmented chord that you did in your song. I love augmented chord. I think it's so underused.
My favorite chord is definitely the E minor ninth.
Oh, that's a brilliant one. Yeah,
that or because then in a 12 bar you've got like an A minor 11th you can put for the 4 chord.
Oh yeah.
It's nice. But again, it's coming back to that idea, because with E minor 9 you're using the open strings, the open top E and the open bottom E. Yeah.
That's why I like using a capo as well, because with the open strings you're only restricted to the certain keys.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it in a different key, that's why I use the capo, because the sound of an open string, well, it's a capoed string. You get these really rich chords, really like add 9s and add 11s and stuff.
Yeah. Have you ever tried using sort of, I don't know, well, like split capos? I've
not. Have you?
Yeah, I have. I've got one which basically when you put it on, it's as if you were playing an A chord.
Oh wow!
Right, so it's effectively fretting an A chord, because it only touches those 3 strings, and that's kind of weird.
Wow!
Because because when you play it out, it plays an A chord. Okay, that's fine. But then when you if you try playing it any other chord with a conventional fingering, it comes out something particularly weird. So yeah, it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting.
That's really good for songwriting, those kind of tools, because you have to think with your ears a bit more, I think. Yeah.
I think that's somebody else that I had on the program. I think it was Elise who said that, because she does a lot. The other thing I learned only recently was that apparently Joni Mitchell, who of course had always used a lot of open tunings and things, started doing it because when she was very young, she had polio.
Oh, right, okay.
So it was made it an easier way to actually finger chords, because you didn't have to worry about doing full bar chords or anything.
Oh, right. So you could just do like 2-finger shapes. And stuff.
Yeah. Ah, interesting. So yeah. What I mean, who do you listen to apart from blues artists? Who do you?
It changes all the time. At the moment, I'm listening to a lot of Jacob Collier. Have you heard of Jacob Collier?
He's the guy who does the amazing multi-track stuff.
Yes, yeah, he's like millions of voices all layered up. Yeah. He's basically like a modern Mozart.
Well, I was going to say he's the 21st century version of Mike Oldfield in a sense.
Oh right, yeah, tubular bells.
Tubular bells.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, the only stuff I've heard by him has been arrangements of other people's material. He's
got some really good arrangements, like the Moon River one's really, really good.
Yeah,
worth checking out. He does it mind blowing what he does. He's one of them. He does like a quarter tone modulation, and it's just it's like our ears are just not made to understand. Western ears can't understand that.
No, God.
Yeah.
In fact, I suspect there'll be a lot of our listeners who might not understand that. I don't think I've ever had a conversation on this program as technical as this one.
I'll keep it simple. Yeah.
No, I'm fascinated by it. I just hope other people are equally fascinated.
It's probably putting people to sleep. Sorry, go.
You say it's a good thing for songwriting, sort of working around with open tunings and stuff. Do you find that your ideas for songs come from the instrument, from a melody, or from phrases, or what?
It usually comes from the chords first, I'd have to say, and then I'll try and sing a melody over the top. I'll find I'm really fascinated with chords, so if I find a chord that is really inspiring, then it'll basically inspire a whole song almost. Like that. Then that song there, quite like that chord there is it's got so much emotion in it. That's like the augmented that we were talking about before, which is there's a song by John Lennon called Just Like Starting Over. Have you heard that one?
Yes, I know the song.
It's got that. I can't remember the bit, and it's got that chord in it. He uses the augmented a lot, and I think his song it gives it this like kind of ethereal quality, which is a great. Sometimes I just aim for a mood when I'm writing a song, and then come up with the meaning afterwards.
But also with that chord you played now is that it gives you that feeling that it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
You know it's gonna resolve somewhere.
Yeah, so it goes to there in that case, which is quite pleasing. Yeah, it's like it is good to take people. I mean, don't think about it in those terms, but to take the song somewhere, I guess, like a little story. Yeah.
I think I think that's right. It's quite in some ways it's very easy to do these programs, but in some ways it's actually quite difficult because if as you say, it's taking somebody on, it's a story sort of thing, which it is, But I don't know about you, but I often feel kind of sort of a bit pretentious if I say something like that. You know,
Are you calling me pretentious?
No, I'm trying to reassure you that we all feel the same.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to talk about. So, like I said, like I was saying today, talking about music is like dancing about architecture.
Yes.
I find you find yourself going into these like what's the word? Allegory, not allegory, like allusions to, you know, metaphors and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about music without having these kind of metaphorical things creeping in, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of, but it is fascinating at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why we do it. I mean, it's one of the things you were saying before about being fascinated by chords.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What triggered that off, do you think? Because I mean, is that how did you learn to play the guitar in the sort of classical style of learning notes and reading music, or did you learn it chordally like I did?
I think first I started learning chordally, and then I learned the notes afterwards, like classically, and then I went on to do learn it through jazz music. I think jazz is probably where the chord thing comes in. I probably get a bit too obsessed about it. That's all about those relationships, isn't it? Between the melodies and the chords, and how you can create new melodies. And they have this inherent kind of symbiosis, I guess you could say.
Good word. Good
Yeah,
word.
there you go.
Yeah, but it's the funny thing about it is that I mean, depending which chunk of jazz you're talking about. I mean, if you look at the sort of, you know, the Great American Songbook and the sort of the standards of jazz, the standards, most of them are basically, I think it was Gershwin who said, we're trying to say I love you in 32 bars.
Yeah.
The basic structure of them is fairly simple. You know, they have an A-A-B-A structure.
Yeah.
So you've got, like, you know, 4 sections of 8 bars, and then you move between it. But it's the elaboration of the chords that makes it fun.
Yeah. I guess it's like you're in a key and you want to go away from home, and then you always want to take an interesting journey. And I'm going into like one of those metaphors again. You go on an interesting journey, and then you always want to arrive back at home having learned something along the way.
Well, how did we get to this? Right,
know.
come on, play us another song. Tell us about what's the next one going to be? What's it about?
Well, okay. So that
I feel like now you're going to have to say, what's it about? It's about 4 minutes.
It's about 4 minutes. And the last one was about, so it's called Break. So it was about, sometimes you would need to reach a breaking point to bring about positive change.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll go with that.
It'll play. Sorry, I just need to tune up because I think the intonation's out a bit. This is yeah. Okay, so the next one's called On My Way. So I wrote this in middle of 2019, around the summertime, and I have a lot of foreign friends, and there was lots of things happening with Brexit, and they didn't know what was gonna. Some people were leaving permanently, and there was people that I knew. Quite a few people broke up around that time. Some couples broke up, so it was a bit of a I don't know. For some reason, people break up in the summer, and then when the autumn comes, they couple up. I don't know. So yeah. I know what it's like to be here, to be in another country, and then I was quite sad that people that would be here for so long, and then would feel like they needed to, and they'd called this place their home, and they felt like they needed to leave and go back to, just because of, anyway.
Yeah.
I won't get too political about it, but I guess that's part of it.
Yeah.
So there's elements of that in it. There's a few different references in it. Yeah, I'll just play it and then we can chat about it. It's also got some droney bits in it.
Good. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so this one's called On My Way.
Finding a hole in the middle of the road, digging in. These walls are listening to you bleeding hard. You got the road and you got the conversation. It'd be rude to think that you gave away the invitation. We're moving closer, so we can stay on my way. Figure things out today, because we play. Make the most of every mistake, acting the clown just to keep you around till we part. It's a ruse to steal your heart, trick you into the jar. You got the time, but you just don't have the patience. Broken words don't fix the cracks in a bad foundation. We're moving closer, so we can stay on our way. Figure things out today, because we play. We make the most of every mistake. Moving on, I can't believe you're up and gone. There's room for you if you want me to. Moving closer, so we can stay on our way. Figure things out today, because we play. We make the most of every mistake. It's on our way. Figure things out today, because we play. We make the most of every mistake.
Great. Love it.
Okay.
And funny, when I mentioned Joni Mitchell before, the initial rhythm of that was took me immediately back to the sort of the Blue album.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
you know the title track.
I don't know Joni Mitchell so well, I've got to admit. I only know a few of her songs, but I'll give it a go.
That sort of, because she plays apart from piano, she plays dulcimer as well as guitar, and it's got that the way you play a dulcimer, it tends to sort of fall into that rhythm. So it's a very reminiscent.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, funnily enough, I was watching a documentary on Sky Arts the other day about Johnny Mitchell. I didn't realise she'd recorded so many albums.
How many albums?
12 or 13 albums. And
That's
like,
a lot.
you know, yeah. And there's a period in the middle when she didn't write anything. Again, another interesting documentary. Sky Arts is quite good, actually. I've been quite impressed with that. So when you were growing up, I mean, I don't know much about music in New Zealand apart from Split Ends, really.
That's all you need to know. That's the.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah, the Split Ends.
I was. Oh God! How long ago was it? In the late 70s, early 80s. Somebody played me a demo, and they said, "Oh, this is a New Zealand band called Split Ends, but this is just a demo. They've been signed, and this is coming out as a single." And it was the original demo of "I See Red," which was big hit for, but much better than the final single.
Okay.
Because the original was faster. It was much more punky. So it was, "When I see my baby walking down the street, I see red, I see red, I see red." Whereas when it came out on the single, it was, "When I see my baby." I couldn't believe the difference. It was so disappointing.
Oh,
but
it's like the "We Will Rock You." Have you heard the original version of "We Will Rock You"?
No, is that similar?
Punk. It's punk. Yeah, it's not like "Duk Duk." We will. It's like we will rock you.
That's interesting. I'll have to check that out.
Original "We Will Rock You." Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So that's all I need to know about New Zealand music, is it? So I just wondered what you kind of grew up with.
Split Ends and Crowded House. So Neil.
Obviously,
Neil
yeah.
He's songwriting royalty, really.
Absolutely,
even his son Liam Finn, whole family is amazing as well.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of New Zealand singer-songwriters which I could name, which you probably never heard of, but in a similar vein to that, singer-songwriter types. And British music and American music.
It's kind of funny for me, having been brought up in Britain, you know, in an era when, you know, all sorts of things were going on in the 60s, the 70s, 80s, etc. To then realize that in other countries didn't have that sort of, I mean, obviously the States did, but other people didn't have as large a sort of indigenous music scene.
Yeah,
you know, like when I got to Italy, talking to friends there, actually, usually the guys I played with, I was usually the same age as their parents, and so, but it was quite interesting that they were talking about bands that over here weren't really that well known, like Camel, for example.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, a friend of mine, his dad is like a major league Camel fan.
Amazing.
Now, yeah, okay, they made quite a lot of albums, but they weren't exactly a huge act over here. But to think that it was all imported music.
That reminds me, that's like, over Christmas I watched that documentary, Searching for Sugar Man. Have you seen that documentary?
No.
It's basically about this guy who was a Motown.
The guy, they found him at the age of about 65 or something like that. And I've read the story.
He basically got dropped by Motown.
Yeah.
And then around time of apartheid in South Africa, his songs, this is basically a similar vein to Bob Dylan, sort of protest songs about the government and things like that. And he really struck a chord in apartheid, South Africa. And everyone was bootlegging his albums. Right. And he became a superstar in South Africa.
Yeah.
And they all thought he was dead, like he'd shot himself on stage or lit himself on fire on stage. But it turned out he was alive. Spoiler alert. And yeah, he'd become like, you know, like he'd sold millions of albums in South Africa. He didn't even realize, and they flew him over there to do some concerts. And you know,
I remember the story now. That is extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I found that in France too. There was like some artists that were popular that I'd heard of, but for some reason, different artists gained popularity in different countries. You must have found that in Italy as well.
Yeah, well, one of the acts that was enormously popular. I mean, they had hit singles in the UK, but Creedence Clearwater Revival, the Italians adored.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
they had hit singles in the UK, but you know they weren't. Whereas they're considered to be like, you know.
Yeah, I found the same. Ray Charles in France, they absolutely loved Ray Charles, and I was like, yeah, I didn't know him that well before I went there, but yeah, for some reason, yeah, they absolutely loved it.
But there's also some weird stories about stuff like that. I heard an interview some time ago, and I think it was one of the guys from Pink Floyd. I think it was Roger Waters, and he was saying that in the late 60s, into the early 70s, they weren't quite sure what was happening on the other side of the pond, sort of thing, and they were imagining what was going on in Haight-Ashbury, in San Francisco, etc., 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 and the hippie scene and everything, and they were. Because there wasn't the sort of communication that there is these days, so they were kind of imagining what was happening there and creating this stuff that they thought would fit in over there.
Wow!
And then they kind of got exported over there, and the Americans are going, "Wow, this is fantastic!"
Yeah,
and it was the same with the blues. There's an interview with Keith Richards when he was saying when he first went to the States with the Stones, and there's all these guys over there saying, "This music's fantastic." Where do you get it? And they're going, well, it's just down the road, man. It's in Mississippi. Just go there and listen to it. Because a lot of the blues artists at that point were struggling in poverty.
Yeah,
They brought them to the UK and then re-exported it back. Which is
I guess Jimi Hendrix is the perfect example of that, isn't he?
Yeah,
he was little known, really. He was like little Richard backing guitarist.
And Isley Brothers.
Isley Brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he came over to the UK and made it really big.
Well, the band was the band was English. Mitch Mitchell and Noel Redding were English.
Yeah.
Noel Redding was a public school boy, actually. A friend of mine went to school with him.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't Eton, but it was a minor public. Well, I shouldn't say minor because they're all. Anyway, let's not go into my considerations of private education. So yeah, a lot of that happens. So okay, so you're in New Zealand. You decide to go to university. You study guitar, and then you head for France, and then so you come over to the UK. Did you immediately come to Manchester, or?
I did. I've got family from. My granddad was from Liverpool, so.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I've got family from here, so ended up setting myself up in Manchester. Yeah, love the music in Manchester, and music from the north was great. I love the Beatles, like we were talking about before. And, all those bands from around that time, the Hollies, and I suppose in Manchester you got those like 10cc and well, I should say the Hollies as well. Yeah, loads of great music coming out of England. It's my roots, I feel. And I love the blues from England as well, like the Blues Breakers. Peter Green.
Well, of course, I mean, John Mayall used to live just down the road, down the road from here. Well, some say it's Macclesfield, but it's not. It's actually south. It's South Manchester.
Okay.
I understood it was Bramhall actually, but I think it's further out there. And I do because his brother still lives here, doesn't he?
Okay, I don't know.
His brother Rod still lives here. Keyboard player, plays regularly in Stockport. But Manchester band. Yeah. So what is it you planning with the band and with the trio? What do you fancy doing with that?
Well,
finding some gigs.
Yeah. Well, when we're allowed to go back. So we have a keyboard player now. So Ron, who plays the pianette and also the organ. So he's joined us about 18, probably a couple of years ago now. And I'd like to record an EP and put out a few singles this year, but it's just it's a weird time. You can't really leave the house at the moment. I'm not very good at the recording thing myself, so I need assistance with that. Yeah, but I'd like to get into it a bit more home recording, I think. Yeah.
So, you want to play us another song?
Yeah, sure.
What's
Okay.
the next one you got in store for us?
Another drony one for you. And this next one's called Oblivious. I actually made a music video for this one before lockdown. So the main character is oblivious to his impending doom.
Right.
And it's sort of like that. The world is ending, but because he's unaware, he's blissfully unaware. It's to his own detriment. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's called Oblivious.
Excellent.
Say I'm oblivious of the things that go around. Ooh, honey, settle down. I ain't no magician and my crystal ball found out. Ooh, there's something going on. I might be wrong. See my imagination strong. So spell it out. 'Cause I can read the sign just like you do. There's something going on, my dear. Guessing isn't what I look forward to. Nothing's ever been so unclear. Oh. Say I'm oblivious, there's a chance you may be wrong. Ooh, I lay your money down. I ain't no statistician, my crystal ball found out. Ooh, there's something going on. I might be wrong. See my imagination strong. So spell it out. 'Cause I can read the sign just like you do. There's something going on, my dear. Guess it isn't what I look forward to. Nothing's ever been so unclear, so unclear to my ear. So unclear, woman, to my. Say I'm oblivious to the things that go around. Ooh, honey, settle down. Ain't no magician and my crystal ball found out. Ooh, there's something going on. I might be right or wrong. See my imagination strong. So spell it out. 'Cause I can't read the sound just like you do. There's something going on, my dear. Guessing isn't what I look forward to. Nothing's ever been so unclear.
Great, love it. I noticed that a lot of the songs you have, although you're playing chords, you're actually playing chord melody almost.
Yes, yeah. I guess
Which is
so.
a very jazz thing. You know, it's the sort of thing that Joe Pass would do with the jazz standards, and it works really well because it fits in with that drony effect. Yeah, That sounds great. Now the songs you've done tonight, have you recorded any of these? Are they on Spotify or?
So the one I've just played is on Spotify and most platforms.
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, there's a video. I know you can't listen to the video, but you've heard the song, now see the video. Yeah, there's a video on YouTube, and the first song that I played, which was Break, I'm currently recording.
Right.
And I'd like to record the second one on my way as well this year as well. But if we're
so if people are looking for you, are you down as Shane Robertson or as Shane? Is it Douglas? Yeah, Shane Douglas Robertson, or is it?
So they can find it Digging for Apples.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I only say that because, like, when I say Rowland Jones, I thought when Spotify, when I first registered there, I thought it'd be fine here, yeah. And there's another Rowland Jones.
Oh, right, yeah.
Spelt exactly the same.
It's always the way.
But he does Victorian love songs, which I don't.
Victorian love songs.
So they can find you under Shane Robertson. I must ask, Digging for Apples, where does the title come from?
Oh, it's from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, right.
There's you've not heard of Digging for Apples in Alice in Wonderland?
No.
There's a very, very obscure character called Pat the Gardener. So there's a part where she's had the eat me, drink me.
Yeah.
And she grows into a house.
Right.
And there's a gardener who the rabbit calls the gardener to help. He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm digging for apples, Your Honor. So I just thought that was a very strange phrase. And I think being on the other side of the world is strange. So I need to make sense of it. So it's me, the apples are me making sense of things, the ideas I have, and trying to work things out. And
that's well. I mean, let's be fair. It's a freaky story, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. I've not read the Jabberwocky though. I'd like to read that one.
Well, there's but there's also through the looking glass is it's pretty freaky as well. Yeah. I think you like the odd smoke.
There's lots of illusions in it apparently. Like there's like maths equations and things that because he wrote it for one of the girls he was babysitting, I think, to help her with the homework. I think. Right. So I think there's a lot of secret codes and stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first had the explanation given about the Mad Hatter and where that comes from. Which, given the fact that I'm in Stockport, it's entirely appropriate.
So where does the Mad Hatter come from? I should know this.
It's the fact that for the felting process, they used to use mercury.
Oh right, okay.
Which causes brain damage.
Oh right, so that's why it's the Mad Hatter.
Mad as a Hatter is literally mad as a Hatter because they were bonkers. Which may say something about Stockport, although I wouldn't, having lived here for a long time now. But yeah, Alice in Wonderland, it's wacky stuff. Of course, when I first met Leslie, the first time we actually went out together, I actually said to her that I don't know how we got into the conversation, but that the Dormouse in Alice in Wonderland, I told her that the Dormouse in Alice in Wonderland, that the sketch was inspired by Giacomo what's his name, Rossetti's pet wombat. He was one of the what were they called, the painters? It was a group of painters anyway. He was obsessed with bizarre animals, and he had lots of different pets. Wow. So I told her that, and she did confess after. She went straight home and checked it up to see whether it was true or not. And then we got married. Although years later we then discovered it's not true anyway. So anyway. There you go, Alice in Wonderland. Sorry, a little bit of digression there.
No, it's great.
It's been great fun talking to you. We seem to have talked a lot, and I think I should give you a chance to do another song, seeing as you've only done 3 so far. What would you like to do now?
Do tune up first. Let's have a think. I will just do a short one to finish, I think.
Okay.
This is this one's called Made for This. So this is kind of unfinished, but I thought it would be a good. I like the sentiment of it. It's when we're in lockdown, there was no music going on, and sort of forget. It sounds extreme, but as a musician or an artist, you sort of forget your purpose in a way. So it's like I was saying, like my songs are literally just like cathartic, self-therapeutic vehicles.
Fair enough, I think. Fair enough.
And this, I did a gig when gigs were allowed. I did a couple of gigs, and then we locked down again. Like the tears came in, but it just reminded me of my purpose in life. Yeah, one of my purposes in life. And you put a lot of your identity into things, like if you are an artist, I guess. And yeah, so this one's called Made for This. Just a reminder that
that's what you're here to do.
Might not. That's what we're here to do. We're here to entertain people, and if you've been spending your whole life working up to something, it's not like how there was that ad campaign. The famous ad campaign. This ballerina should retrain as an accountant or something.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. God.
Anyway,
I'm surprised he wasn't assassinated for that.
No, it's not a response to that, but it was just like a realization, I guess.
It's a parallel.
A parallel, yeah. I really just want to be a ballet dancer.
You don't want to be an accountant.
No. Should retrain in like IT or something. Anyway, it doesn't have a bridge, but I'm gonna. Yeah, here we go. It's called Made for This.
Hold me, I'm lost. Went over the line I shouldn't have crossed. Who am I in these times? Black is the sky inside my mind. Don't ever let it get to you. Ways and the means are falling through. Stay true to yourself. I got no time for no one else. Was made for this. This is how it is. It brings me life. Feel it deep inside. Oh, oh. We try our hardest to play dead. Our lives are fading, defeated. I am who I say. I feel alive this way. Was made for this. This is how it is. It brings me life. Feel it deep inside. Oh, oh. Made for this. deep inside. Oh, 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 oh.
Great. Love it.
It's a bit hard on my sleeve, but
No, that's great. I love it. It's I just love this way you've got this, and I suppose it comes out of that thing with having the drone strings. It means that the root of the chord, or the not the root, but the basis of the chord is still there, but you're playing the melody within it.
Oh, these kind of chords.
Yeah.
These I think they call them shell voicings.
Shells, what? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep the third on the bottom. I'm sorry, keep the third on the top, and they had the root and the fifth below. I really like it. I think it's really kind of sparse, but you still, like you say, you hear the melody and I can't get away from them actually.
It's all right. Sounds great. Yeah, I really like it. Like it a lot. Yeah. Shane, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's been good. And it's been a long time since we've chatted, to be honest, apart from the last couple of days. So let's keep in touch and keep doing it. And let me know where you're getting on with the recordings and everything. And we shall talk again soon.
Yes, definitely.
Take care, my friend. And
take care, Rowland. All right.
Cheers,
bye.
Man. Bye. That was good. I enjoyed that. Good man. Great songs. I love the voicing. Good stuff. So that's it for this week. I meant to. Is he still there? Are you still there?
Still here. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Diane Wood said, "Well done."
Diane Wood. Oh, great. Yeah? Thanks, Diane.
Thought I should tell you that. Okay. Cheers, mate. See you in a bit.
Bye.
So that's it for this week from me and Shane. Next week we've got another Antipodean guest from Australia. This time, Fiona Boyce, who's a blues player. We shall be recording that tomorrow evening because with the time difference, we can't actually do it as a live broadcast. But we will record it live and then put it up next week. And then after that, we've got Carl Wyatt coming up. And then after that, we've got Dana Gillespie, which should be incredibly good. So that's it from Talking Songs from this week. You can find all the things that we've done so far on YouTube, and the channel is called Talking Songs with Rowland Jones. It's all there. And, you can go to the page as well and see all the stuff we've done. And if you've got any questions or anything about songwriting, then drop us a line. In the meantime, look after yourselves and stay safe. Cheers. Bye.